Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into Canibus, his track Law of Self specifically.
Okay.
And you can check it on C Radio on Spotify and Rippers Unite on YouTube. So if you want to listen along or listen afterwards, those are the places to go. But yeah, we're going to unpack some serious wordplay and some of the concepts that are hidden inside of his rhymes.
Yeah, you know what's so fascinating about this deep dive is that Canibus, he's not just rapping, he's creating like a philosophical framework through his lyrics. This track, it's just layered with all these ideas about consciousness and reality and the power of language.
Yeah, and it starts right off the bat. Like the very first lines of the song. It's, lyrical law flow open the hyperdimensional window. The code is a node unbeknownst. I mean, I've listened to this track a bunch of times. I still can't quite wrap my head around what he's talking about.
Well, that's the beauty of Canibus. He always makes us think beyond the surface. Lyrical law, as he calls it, it's all about the power of words. And for Canibus, rap is like a tool to transmit knowledge. It's a way to open these hyperdimensional windows into like these deeper levels of understanding.
Okay, so he's using language to kind of push the boundaries of our perception.
Exactly.
Like there's meaning hidden within the language itself.
Yeah.
And rap is the key.
Exactly. It's like he's presenting us with this code, and then he's daring us to try to decipher it.
Okay, and then right after that he says, they're alive, but they haven't lived much. What is that all about?
Well, here, he's drawing a distinction, I think, between existing and actually truly experiencing life. He's kind of critiquing people who go through life passively, without really engaging with the depths.
So you're saying it's like someone who's always just on their phone, just scrolling and never really connecting with the world.
You got it. He's kind of calling for all of us to wake up and to break free from this passive state and like actively seek out meaning and understanding.
But wouldn't you say that even those people who are always on their phone are still engaging with the world?
That's a fair point, but I think he's talking about something deeper. It's not just about like how we engage, but it's about like the intention and the awareness that we're bringing to our experience. Like, are we present in each moment, or are we just letting life pass us by?
Oh, so he's saying be more mindful, really like savor each experience.
Exactly. And, that mindfulness, it's essential if we want to unlock the deeper truth that he's hinting at in these lyrics.
Okay, so then he says, 2012, classified patents, only the first couple of thousands got to do with rapping. Now I'm really lost.
Yeah, so this is where he starts to like blend these philosophical ideas with this really intriguing imagery. He's suggesting a link between rap and technology, and even like hidden knowledge.
So rap is connected to patents, like scientific inventions. I don't understand.
It's very cryptic, but I think he's playing with this idea that creativity and language and technology are intertwined. He may be saying that like the power of language, the way that it shapes our thoughts, can drive technological progress.
So our words can shape the future.
That's the idea.
Wow. And then he says hip-hop gave him the chance to exist. Like, how can an art form give someone existence?
This line, it speaks to how deeply connected he is to hip-hop. For Canibus, hip-hop, it's not just music. It's a force. It's a way of being.
So it's not just something that he does. It's who he is.
Exactly. And it's through hip-hop that he found his voice and his purpose and his identity. And through this lens of hip-hop, he's trying to make sense of the world and then share his insights with everybody else.
That's fascinating. Okay, so we've been through some pretty heady concepts. We've got lyrical law. We've got these hyperdimensional windows, the idea that rap is somehow connected to technology. Where do we go from there?
Well, this is where these abstract ideas, they start to take on a more personal and like a practical dimension. In the second verse, he dives into the human experience, exploring things like fear and resilience and the search for meaning.
Okay, I like it. What are some of the lines that stand out to you?
One that always grabs my attention is fear is not an emotion. Fear is not an option. They paralyze your motor skills.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a powerful statement about the nature of fear.
That's a great line. It's like he's saying, don't let fear hold you back. Push through it and achieve your full potential.
Exactly. He's recognizing that fear can be a huge obstacle to growth and self-realization. He's saying that we need to confront our fears and not let them control what we do.
That reminds me of something that I was reading about the psychology of fear. They were saying that, like, our brains are hardwired to avoid things that could hurt us. So fear is really a survival mechanism. But sometimes that fear response can get out of control. And it stops us from doing things that are good for us, like taking risks or chasing our dreams, or even just, stepping outside our comfort zone.
Yeah, and I think that's what Canibus is talking about.
He's saying, be bold,
Mm.
challenge your limits.
Don't let fear stop you.
Okay, so we've got this theme of overcoming fear. What else is in there?
Well, right after that line about fear, he says, the savage looking for salvage.
Mm.
And that always kind of gives me this feeling of resilience.
I could see that. Like, he's talking about someone
Right.
who's been through some stuff.
Ah.
But they're still searching for something valuable to rebuild with.
Yeah, exactly. It speaks to like the ability that humans have to adapt, to overcome challenges, and to even find meaning in the middle of chaos.
And this kind of goes back to the idea of lyrical law being your only outlet.
Right.
Right. He's saying that through art, we can make sense of the world.
Yes.
And kind of reclaim our power.
Exactly.
Art becomes a way to survive.
A way to deal with all the craziness of life and come out stronger on the other side.
It's interesting how he puts these things together, fear and resilience. It's like he's saying, life is going to be tough, but you've got the strength to handle it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got fear, we've got resilience, and we've got this power of art to change the way we see things. What else is there?
One that stands out to me is, we are one soul in separated zones. We control our souls in the microphones. It's a statement about how we're all connected, but we're also individuals.
It's like that idea that we're all in this together.
Right.
But we still have to make our own choices.
Exactly.
And those choices, those are reflected in how we use our voice.
Right.
Like literally with the microphone.
Exactly.
But also in a bigger sense.
It's a reminder that our words matter.
They have power.
And we can use them to make things better.
This all goes back to his idea of lyrical law. He's showing us that language can change things, both for ourselves and for the world around us.
Absolutely. And he takes it even further with the next line, which is probably the most mysterious line in the whole song. Every concept seems separate, but all contact is a self-generated effort.
Woo. I didn't even know where to begin with that one.
This line, it's about how we see separation. Canibus is saying that the boundaries between us and other people, between different ideas, they're not really as solid as we think. We make our own reality.
Through our choices.
Through what we do and how we interact with each other.
So he's saying separation is like an illusion.
Yeah.
And we have more power than we realize.
Exactly.
We're not just, along for the ride.
Right.
We're creating our own destinies.
And the way we use language, the way we talk to each other, it all plays a role.
This is starting to sound a lot like that idea of manifestation.
It is.
Where your thoughts and your words can actually change things.
It's a really interesting connection. And I think Canibus was onto something.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time in a lot of ways.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got fear, resilience, this idea that we're all connected.
Yeah.
And the power of language. It's amazing how much he can fit into just a couple of lines.
It really is. He's not just rhyming. He's making us think.
Okay, I'm ready for that last verse. What else has he got for us? Okay, so we've unpacked a lot here. We've got lyrical law. We've got these hyperdimensional windows, this idea that rap is connected to technology and, a deeper understanding of the world around us. But what do we do with all of this? How does this lyrical law apply to our everyday lives?
Well, you're right. He's not just, showing off. He's giving us a way to think, a way to look at the world.
Okay, so like. What does that actually look like?
I think the first thing is that we got to be more aware. Canibus is telling us to pay attention, to look beyond the surface.
To question everything.
Yeah, exactly. And this goes for like everything, the words that we use, the stuff that we read, the way that we treat other people.
So be present.
Be engaged. Be curious.
But he's also talking about looking inward too.
Yes, absolutely. Understanding ourselves, like what makes us tick? What are we afraid of? What do we really want?
So it's not just about the outside world.
No. It's about mastering yourself.
Okay.
And when you do that, then you can tap into this power of language.
He keeps coming back to that words can actually change things.
Yeah, for Canibus, words are more than just words.
They're tools.
Tools to shape reality.
But it's not enough to just say the words, is it?
No. It's about the intention behind them, the energy that we put into them.
And how that affects the people around us.
Exactly.
So he's calling for us to be more conscious,
more compassionate,
more connected to each other.
He wants us to use our words and our actions to build something good, something meaningful.
And he's doing all of this through his music, through lyrical law.
Canibus is not just entertaining us. He's making us think.
So as we wrap this up, what's the one thing that you want people to take away from this?
Don't be afraid to dig a little deeper. Don't just accept things at face value. Question everything. Look at things from different angles.
And don't just listen to Canibus once. Go back and listen again.
See what else you can find.
Yeah, there's a lot hidden in his lyrics.
A whole universe.
Well, this has been great. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive into the mind of Canibus.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, keep those minds open and those ears tuned for the unexpected.